We were talking last hour, obviously Montreal is at a tough spot like other teams have been, a couple weeks ago, even as recent with the Leafs.
Yeah.
Have you heard any trade chatter, heat up at all? I mean, I'm not suggesting, brought up a good point, is sometimes a trade can jolt an organization. We see with the Leafs, obviously a coaching change.
Yeah.
I know there's constant dialogue, but has there been increased dialogue with certain organizations?
Yeah, to some degree. But what's been unique this year a little bit anyway is the fact that so many teams are operating in LTI.
Yeah.
And when you do that, it really complicates your cap situation. So for many of those clubs, it's dollar in, dollar out. And even though historically we look at U.S. Thanksgiving tomorrow as kind of a tipping point, that's when the general managers start to get a little hungrier and feistier. And that might very well be the case. But it's still really quiet out there, fellas. I mean, you still have the lower end guys like, Mikkel Boedker in Ottawa. Obviously Pierre Dorian's been looking to trade him forever. Calgary was in a position where they were talking and interested in doing something. Jason Botterill, and now that the news is out on Sobotka, and the fact that he had knee surgery and he's out for an indefinite period, Botterill's going to do something. The question is, to what degree? Is he adding like a third-line guy? He'd like to add a top six, but where's that player come from? Specific to Montreal, here's the thing that I'm going to watch most closely until the trade deadline or until a trade happens, Taylor Hall. I think that Taylor Hall would be a good add for the Montreal Canadiens, and I don't understand why they wouldn't have interest. And I'm not so sure that given the opportunity, Taylor Hall wouldn't sign in with the Montreal Canadiens.
Well, if it goes well.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Jags, we talked about it earlier. Isn't the fact that we see this play out. If they're not going to sign, they're not going to sign. Like, stop waiting around for Taylor Hall for the end of the season to say, we saw it with John Tavares. It's like, they're not doing it. So why not maximize the asset? That's the whole league is asset management. So try to get something for them.
Yeah, and look, Darren Ferris, who represents Taylor Hall, has met with Ray Shero of the New Jersey Devils enough, right? Like, I think they've nibbled at parameters, but, there hasn't been a hard term thrown out there by New Jersey. There hasn't been a hard number. And every agent who has a player of that magnitude who's heading unrestricted free agency plays from the same playbook, right? Don't sign anything. Let's just play this out. And unless it's a perfect scenario, which also includes wanting to stay long term, then at least go into the market and find out. But look, and I look at New Jersey as a hockey market that matters. It does. The history certainly would back that up. But I don't think that Taylor Hall is at all concerned about some of the scrutiny and the pressure and all of that of playing in the Canadian market. He did it. He faced it in Edmonton. I think he's one of those players, not unlike Tavares, signing with the Maple Leafs, who would love it. I think he'd feed off the passion. So we'll see if they can get something done.